Hello everyone and welcome to another Magic Online video. I am BBD and I'm going to be battling in 4 rounds of a daily event with a sweet Abzan control deck. So basically this is very similar to Lucas Sial's deck that he won Grand Prix Toronto with last weekend, but a little bit of a different take. So I feel like Wingmate Rock is one of the best cards in the format right now because it flies over all this ground. There's a lot of cards that gum up the ground a lot, like Rhino, Lion, Courser. But then even beyond that, there's like the Death Mist Den Protector lineup, and that really just makes attacking on the ground oftentimes very difficult. And that's where Wingmate Rock comes in to kind of fly over the top. And I want to play Wingmate. I want to try Wingmate Rock in a shell like this. And it may seem weird, it doesn't really see play in Abzan control very much, but if you notice, we actually have a lot of creatures. So we have 4 Fleece Mains, 3 Den Protectors, 4 Coursers, and 4 Rhinos that are all going to help make our Wingmate Rocks better. And the reason I want to try Wingmate Rock in this kind of a shell instead of Abzan Aggro is because Abzan Aggro has a really hard time beating the card Elspeth, and with Abzan Control winning the Grand Prix, I expect to see a lot more Elspeths in the format. And Wingmate Rock's also one of the best cards in the format against other Elspeths, so I feel like we're going to be set up well against other Abzan decks with access to Wingmate Rock, and also really good against Den Protector Deathmist Raptor, since we can just kill them in the air with Wingmate Rock while we use the rest of our cards to control the grounding, especially Elspeth, which is also very good against Deathmist Raptor. So I think that this style of deck has a lot of potential, and I'm really excited about playing it. Other than that, really the main deck's the same as Lucas's. The only changes I made is I cut a Read the Bones, a Crux of Fate, and a Nissa for 2 Wingmate Rocks and the 4th Fleece Main Lion to help give us a way to turn our Wingmate Rocks on. And then I made some changes in the sideboard. So we have a couple of Cruxes of Fate that are going to come in against decks where Wrath effects are good, but it can also come in against Esper Dragons, where we can just Crux and choose dragons to get rid of their dragons. So that's another sweet thing there. Some Drown in Sorrow as well for mono red. Now Lucas had a Ration Cleric and Drown in Sorrow, and I'm not that crazy. I respect the fact that mono red's a deck, but I don't want to overload my sideboard for cards just for that matchup. So I cut the clerics, I upped the numbers on Drown and Sorrow, and we're going to hope that Drown plus Courser and these cheap creatures and some of these removal spells are going to be good enough to beat mono red. Although, you never know, maybe it's just not even enough even with all that. Past that point, we have an Ugin, comes in against a lot of decks are really cold to Ugin, so Ugin's a great card to have access to in the 75. And then a Singleton Nissa for the control decks. And then past that point, like some Duresses for control, Read the Bones for grindy matchups, a couple of powerful removal spells for other mid-rangey decks, and then 2 more Dromoka's commands for matchups where that effect is very powerful. Things with Mastery, the Unseen, Whip of Erebos, etc. Also just good against other Courser decks too, where you can fight a guy, make them sacrifice their Courser. So kind of a balanced sideboard here. We can maybe make some changes to this based on how the matches play out, but I wanted to start with the sideboard very similar to Lucas's because our main deck's also very similar. See how things play out, and then based on what we see, we can definitely make some adjustments. Ooh, hey, some prizes from my last daily event. What a delight! And yeah, let's go ahead and jump right into the games and see how this deck can stand up in the 4 rounds of this daily event, and whether or not Wingmate Rock is the real deal.